I hate puppies. Good podcast.
That's hilarious.
Are you recording this, Ely?
I feel
I'm not
threatened.
recording. No. You like me too?
Producing.
Yes, I am producing right now. You guys just don't hear it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Pallet House. I'm surrounded by my friends, I think.
Where?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a loose term.
precisely. Oh, man. All right, I had to shut that part down. Well, it's good to see your guys' faces, despite...
I just had the pop up here that I'm being recorded. What the hell?
I saw that, too.
That's Governor Northam.
Oh, that's how that went down. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we all just agreed.
as part of his announcement. That and the re-education camps.
So now it's official. Like, we're being recorded every time everywhere we go. Is that what's up?
This is where it starts.
Well, so Ely, you want to fill me in on what exactly did happen? Because here's what I know. As of today, they stopped suggesting and said it's now in order. Stay home. Is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I figured. I mean, I think he just took away your right to do more stuff that you have no chance of catching it in the first place doing,
Like fishing?
like fishing or walking on the beach.
Well, I
Well,
guess
I think-
the fear
think
is that
what
a million
happened
people
was-
did, right?
What's
Yeah.
that?
So a bunch of people went to the beach this weekend. From what I hear, like everybody had the same mentality. Like it's beautiful. Let's go to the beach. Well, next thing you know, assholes to elbows, and then you have a large group of people. So I think that's where he kept saying, "Stay at home, stay at home." What was confusing to me was he was saying, "Stay at home." He's like, "Of course you can go get food. Of course you can go to the grocery store. Of course you can go get essentials, but stay at home." And I'm like, isn't that what most of us are doing anyway? Like, it's not like you're going to the skating rink or going bowling or going to the movie theater because all those places are shut anyway. So you're going out, you're getting your essentials, and if you're doing like me, you're just wandering the neighborhood.
How many times have you been to the beach and been within 6 feet of strangers?
Depends.
Yeah,
I mean, not
like,
to be a contrarian. Like, if everybody goes to the beach on a nice day, it's pretty damn packed, and you are within.
I've never been to that beach.
Oh, I've certainly been to shitty beaches like that where it's completely packed out. But it's like, that's like a Memorial Day or a 4th of July typically.
Yeah,
The first thing I do is look and go, okay, there's no one over there. That's where I'm
Yes.
going to go put my towel.
Right, but then you spread out your 8x8 blanket and your distance.
Yeah, everybody
So-
else is still 8 to 10 feet from you, and they're a family. Like you're not like no one's poking you in the eye with their germs at the beach.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I know when I was on Reddit this past weekend, there were a lot of people like freaked out because down at Pony Pasture, which is like here on the James River, a lot of people hang out down there. It was like people were going down there and then they said, "Oh God, it's like nuts to butts down here." Like everybody's hanging out and like groups of like 30, 40 people on the same rock and then everybody hanging out together and drinking. And
Yeah, but who cares about the fish with the third eye? I mean, that's coming down from wherever.
Well, I think what everyone was saying on Reddit, they were like, guys, you got to stop doing this or they're going to like change the lockdown and make it.
You don't get the fucking flu and viruses from the rocks at Pony Pasture.
Well, you do if you're making out with somebody, right? Down at Pony Pasture. Like there's all kinds of people there, I guess is what they're saying.
Right, you're not making out with a random corona. You've been making out with them for weeks before.
Right.
I would hope.
And still making out with them.
So I don't understand what the difference is between what happened today and what happened yesterday. And I know this will probably have all come to light over the next 3 days before this comes out. But how much different is it now than what it was?
Can't do anything for fun right now. That's basically it.
That's what I said earlier. If it's something that has to do with public fun, which is restaurants, bars, gaming, beach, public property, anything like that, where you can not control your social distancing is what they're shutting down.
Good luck policing that because, I mean, it's easy to do it at a public beach, but like, I mean, just think of every neighborhood has a, little field or park in it or somewhere, people hang out like, and it doesn't take long for it to get over 10 people.
No, it happens really quickly. Like, so Ely, this weekend I came by your house for a little bit. Would that be
Right.
deemed illegal now? Even
Yeah.
though we were under the 10 people, I mean, I wasn't doing
Yes,
anything
it would be
because
it's
it's
not
non-essential.
right.
But he didn't. There was no repercussions for anything.
They're not
But I
saying
heard-
personal to personal travel is cut down. They're just, if they wanted to, and you're driving to Ely's house, they could deem it not essential. But it's kind of like the whole, it's kind of like the driving law where it's illegal, but you got to get pulled over for something else, and then if you see it, they'll give you a ticket for that.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah.
The rule is you cannot come to my house just for fun. That's the fucking rule.
That's
Whether
what I'm
they wanna
wondering.
Enforce it or not is a
Right.
different story.
Right,
That's the
right.
fucking
You're
rule.
right.
Well, that was the confusing part too. You know, someone asked today. They were like, "What about traveling between personal properties? Like, if you own 2 properties, are you allowed to do that?"
I was
He didn't give
thinking
a
about
clear
you
answer.
today, Troy, because technically
Yeah.
the place you own is in a campground, which are now deemed illegal, right? Like you can't go to a campground, but that's also
Short-term
your,
camping.
Well, it's not a
Short-term
camping.
camping is illegal.
what's that?
Long-term, at least this is the rumor because we're in the same situation. The rumor
It's
is
not a
that short-term camping is illegal, but if you own something like you have a lease there, that's technically still okay.
There was a clause in the way it was written that said something to the effect of 14 days or more. That's considered like long term, so you're allowed to. So I guess if you're saying since you own it, you own it for more than 14 days, so there's your loophole.
Right.
I hope
I'm
that's
not
the case.
Camping. He's not
No, but
camping
you
on-
own a property down there, so we're saying that you should be okay because you're traveling between 2 homes. Is what we're hoping.
in a basically neighborhood.
Yeah, Troy, you're gonna have to hold on for a minute. We're gonna talk elsewhere. Your connection is shot. But so Ely, your understanding is you can go to your campground for a little while.
Well, that's based on what he says. That's
Yeah.
what I understand. But the Middlesex County is having a meeting, and it's going to ultimately be up to the county and
Right.
to ELS, the owners of the campground. But based on what he says, we should be allowed to do it.
I hope that's the case because a lot of people have second homes to this, in this manner. You know,
Right? Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've already been delayed 2 weeks, so if we can't go, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, I believe it. And then at that point, I guess you get your money back on like the
Yeah, you
leasing
have
of
to.
the site.
But just
Just
it doesn't-
crazy.
make any sense to me. This is what I'm talking about. Like, what you're? It's not like look. Everyone is already social distancing. I live out here, so I'll pose this question to you guys. I haven't seen people that aren't social distancing. I don't know anyone that's not doing this. Why the fuck can't we just go there and maintain what we're already doing? Like this idea that they have to force us to do this, I find insane. I don't know why, but I just do. It's,
Well, I believe enough outliers started not doing it that enough Karens of the world started complaining. Because what you have been
Fuck
having.
Karen, I'm saying, like, again, this goes to the whole making the rule because of the one thing, and you can look into this. It's the same concept, whether it's guns or whatever, but because of the one Karen is scared, we fuck everybody. You know what I mean? And the amount of shit that we're totally okay with, we're okay with doing because it's for the greater good is terrifying to me.
And what I
The amount of people that just see this as innocent, it's for the greater good, is fucking the most terrifying thing of all of this to me.
But you do
Agreed.
agree that it is for the greater good. I'm basing that on the fact that you said when it wasn't policed, you didn't care. Like everybody's doing it. I mean, is that so? You're saying it's okay? Like we should all have the social distance thing. It just shouldn't be enforced with law. I'm just trying to get
Right. Yes. So I kind of, what I said, I don't know if I said it on here, but I think that it should have been, we're going to try to squash this as best we can through social distancing and through a lockdown for a month. And then we're going to, individual businesses and places need to have wipes and masks, and everyone maintain this 6-foot rule, and then we get back to business. Instead of this blanket, we're going to police state in case there's 3 people somewhere that aren't listening. That's the insane shit. Like it's almost like no one's thinking about it on a case-by-case basis. In other words, I mentioned this before, the Masters. Why would you cancel the goddamn Masters? Because you never talk to anybody. You never interact with a single person. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we would have just think these through individually instead of just knee-jerk fucking everything. That's what I'm saying. You know,
And we had this discussion on the podcast that never went out. So I'm kind of glad you're touching on it again, because I know what you're saying. You're like, I think we've already talked about this. Technically, we have,
we did.
Right.
but it hasn't gone out to the masses, because that was one that we were talking about. The Masters is a perfect example of a sport where you could realistically test everybody and then say, the only person that you're going to come in contact with is your caddy. We're going to stretch this out a little bit longer, and we're just going to make you and your caddy are the only two. So your caddy should be the person that you're holed up with, self-isolating, your wife, whatever, or just live with your damn caddy for a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
And I don't think golf players would mind not having a crowd. Like, they play in utter silence, even with a crowd, and they practice all the time. So,
Well,
like,
I'm a Rory
they'd-
guy, and Rory's the one who pissed and moaned about it. He's the one who sent out a tweet at the PGA saying, unless you're going to test everybody on this tour, they need to shut it down, which sucked to hear him say that.
that's the mentality that blows my mind. It's like,
Yeah.
they're not licking their face. They're not rubbing their fingers in your gums. What the fuck? Now all of a sudden we act like walking by a human's going to give you this thing. That's the thing.
How do you say hi, Illy? That's how I say hi. The old finger
Lick a
gum.
face.
The old finger gum.
Yeah. Tongues and buttholes. That's how I do it these days.
Yeah, you elephant walk up to your friend.
That's the
Call it
thing
a
that it's
day.
saying. It's like we're forgetting that really what it takes to pass this on. We're acting like standing next to a human is going to
Kill you.
It's going to make you die from this thing, and that's
Yeah.
just this insanity.
And I don't know how much you believe. Like, the Irish government says that you need to be within.
I don't believe any of them.
I knew you were going to say. But they
The
say
Irish
that
people.
they say that you have to be within 6 feet of somebody for 15 minutes. So, like, passing someone on the street
Yeah, ships in the night doesn't do
without
anything.
them, assuming they don't sneeze or cough directly on you,
How
right?
many fucking people do you pass during the flu season and you never get the goddamn flu? I mean, like, you have to be specifically. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying, like, the excessive washing of the hands is good. A lot of the stuff that we're doing and the precautions are good. But I mean, fuck.
Yeah, Illy. But how many people does the flu kill, honestly? Oh, wait. A shit ton. Like,
Yeah.
we forget this.
So to Northrum's new thing, businesses have already closed. It's not like people are clubbing and we need to force them to stop clubbing. Everyone's already, all these businesses have already been guilted into shutting down because of Karens. So people are already doing this on their own.
Well,
You
now
don't-
it's not guilted. Now it's official. I mean,
That's my point. Is it
So,
now
just as a FYI for anybody out there that's listening currently, I mean, who knows, by the time we release this podcast, there could be another executive order. But if you're looking for it, executive order number 55 is what came out yesterday, and it lines out exactly what's allowed and what's not allowed. And for the most part, it's an extension of executive order 53, which is the one that stopped schools from last week. But if you want to take a look at it, executive order number 55, it's got all lined out. And I got about eight things here that they say are allowed, but it's, I don't know if I want to run down the list.
well, there's a handful of vagaries in there, though, that I can't wrap my head around, because I did read it and I looked at it and was like, all right, what can I do and what can I not do? And I
Can
still
do
just had to
golfing.
ask Ely,
Golfing is legitimate.
you can't golf or you can?
Can golf. Which is awesome.
That's fantastic. Yet,
Yeah.
Right.
but not the Masters. You can't golf
Right.
if you're good,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
I actually prefer this rule because I'm bad. So this opens up a tremendous opportunity for me to play nice clubs.
Yeah.
That's fantastic news.
Yeah, you'll be in Augusta this year?
Yeah, just me and a pimento cheese sandwich just divoting the fuck out of that course. I'll show them good.
Well, it says you can travel as long as you're providing charitable or social services for someone. So if you need help,
How about I just want to fucking travel? How about like
Yeah.
the whole restricting my movement
right?
How about I want to
next
drive
level, like
for 2
how about
hours?
I'm just tired of being bottled up in my house. I want to drive up and down Hull Street twice because I want to take a deep breath.
So
I can't do
Yeah.
that anymore because
Or you want to ride to the
Police
mountains.
state won't allow
You
me.
want to day trip up to the mountains and turn around and drive back.
that's actually something that has been a concern of mine because I'm not kidding. Like the other day, I got totally stir crazy. My wife got home to relieve me from the kids, and I was like, I'm just going to go for a ride. She's like, where are you going? I was like, literally nowhere. I just want to get in my car and go. And I drove all over the place, just kind of through back roads and around because it got me out of the house. I've been staring at a computer screen or dealing with children, and it was cathartic for me to get out of the house, even though I didn't go anywhere. And now you're telling me that's actually, if I get pulled over and they go, what are you doing? And I said, driving, not getting out of the car, not communicating. That's a misdemeanor.
That's
So
what
what
I
home.
say. This isn't much different to me. That's fucking insane. This is restricting your right to move. Like there's legitimately the opportunity for secret police to be asking you for your fucking papers and where the fuck you're going. That's insane.
Yeah.
Like we were already doing this.
So if I'm reading this correctly,
Chances are no.
I am. The ones that are misdemeanors, class 1 misdemeanors, are the gatherings of 10 or more people, the in-person higher education, let's see, overnight stays of more than 14 nights at all privately owned campgrounds.
Wait a minute.
Then-
Then an overnight stay of more than 14 nights is a misdemeanor?
It says sessions of all reservations for overnight stays less than 14 nights.
There it
On all
is. That's
privately
the
owned-
difference.
So if you go for
Called
more,
it.
if you go for 2 weeks, if you go for 2 weeks, you're okay. If you go short term, it's not allowed.
But
But
they
that's-
get mail to those addresses. So
Because
they're
when
there.
you go for less than 14 weeks, that's when you start 14 days. That's when you start rubbing gums and licking up.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But all the travel stuff is under the number 1 line item, and none of the travel stuff is misdemeanor.
They shut all
Traveling
the
to
state parks down, and the state parks were my favorite places to go camping before we bought the place at the lake because the campsites were all like 40, 50, 60 feet from another campsite, where like some of the private ones are literally right next to them. But like the state parks
Yeah.
were awesome. Like, why shut
everybody
those down?
knows that the woods is a haven for viruses, Troy.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I
Where you
forgot.
always get them.
yeah. So here's my question.
Damn squirrels.
All these executive orders are set to expire on
June 10th. That we have the longest of any of them I've heard of. Honestly, June 10th is a long time from now. My
You all
daughter.
know why he did this, right? Because you don't want to be the governor who didn't do this.
I am
He's just-
dying for this shit to lighten up in 2 weeks and him to be sitting there like a fucking idiot with
Yeah.
schools canceled and everybody else in the rest of the country. Back to
Egg
doing
on
their
his
shit.
face.
But
Yeah.
that's the problem with this whole thing is
Well,
the
just to
only
be
way
correct-
you look like you fucked up is if you did the right thing. I mean, that's the argument on the other side. If he did enough,
No, because then you could. Why not just do it for 2 weeks, then do it for another 2 weeks, 2 weeks later?
Yeah.
you could. But your argument the other week was you need an end date, right? If you want the economy to survive. And so he gave an end date, albeit way far out. But the reality is that in this situation, if you do it right and not a whole lot of people die, then everybody who was anti gets to go, fuck you. You were overzealous and you caused this problem. It's a lose-lose, honestly. You don't want to be.
Make any sense because the numbers of who can die is totally subjective.
It is, well, there's no way to know. There's literally
No, the
no way to know.
numbers of how many are acceptable are totally subjective.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
right,
I mean,
because you could have someone say it's one person can die and that's too much, and 500,000 people could die and that's not enough. It's totally like you're saying. There's
Well,
no
that's like Lenin's, which there's validity to that point. The whole like one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic. That's totally
Yes.
It's brutal to say that, but it's a fact about human nature.
right. And why are we not? I mean, you could say it about anything that causes deaths. I mean, Ely and I know, everybody knows, 22 veterans a day, but where's the support for anything there hasn't been this public or governmental shutdown on anything that causes
Well,
a
that was
significant
like
daily amount of deaths.
a podcast I listened to a year or two ago. Forget who it was. It was a really smart genius dude on Rogan. It was like, what if I told you I could guarantee no automobile accidents 100%? And Rogan was like, yeah. He's like, all right, speed limit is 25 miles an hour. That'll cut deaths to almost
dramatically.
nothing. And I was like, he's right. Like, we would definitely have
I mean, it's a very good point that, you could change the speed limit to 25 or 5 miles an hour. You will 100% save 40,000 people a year.
For sure.
Yeah.
But then at what cost, right? Now I can't get anywhere. Now it's like going 20 miles from here is an all-day
event.
event.
Middle fingers up to that. Yeah.
Yeah. But
How about an hour?
That's actually exactly right. That is real basic math. Thank you for that,
way
Troy.
To measure that.
There's no way to know for sure.
Like, this experiment should show everybody how driven by fear we are more than anything.
Sure.
And it's all rooted in how the story is told to us. Everyone is the panic is rooted in how the story is told. How do you phrase what's currently going on? You know what I mean? Do you overly mention the deaths? Do you sensationalize the number? It doubled in 2 weeks. And then Karen shits herself, you know what I mean? And demands that everyone shut their business down. And then if you don't, you get shamed if you think that.
Well, you would. If you kept your restaurant open longer, you'd wear the scarlet letter.
Dude, we're past that. We're at the point now where you get shamed if you walk with somebody on the goddamn beach. That's what I'm saying is there's no rational brain that's like, we're going to put a line in the sand where we're not going to say that this is crazy. God damn it. We're cool with the washing of the hands and the groups of 10, but you're telling me that I can't fucking fish. Like, I'm not swabbing fucking, the dude next to me's cheeks with his fishing pole. I barely say hello to him.
Yeah. How they biting? Yeah. Move on.
Right.
That's every conversation I've ever had fishing. How they biting? All right, cool. Leave me alone.
That's literally what they're using to sell this shit is that there's people fishing and exercising on the beach. That's what the news was telling me this evening. Like, the biggest change is there's no longer people allowed to fish and people exercising.
But the problem is if it's 3 dudes fishing spread out, no one gives a shit. But when 300 people show up on the same shoreline and we're supposed to be limiting to 10, then it's a problem.
Is it a problem? So you're telling me
if you just said you're willing to adhere to a 10-person
you're telling me that if I go into Walmart, they can only have 9 employees if I'm there.
That's what they're telling us. That's what I'm saying.
That's the stupidest thing ever.
Wait, Ely,
the 10 has to be constrained by some sort of geography. It can't be 10 people in Walmart Supercenter. It's way different than 10 people standing in a 15-foot room.
Yeah, the 10 people in a 7-Eleven is the max because it's small, right?
Right.
So
again,
but Ely, real quick, maybe I just misheard you. What I read here says the only people that can go to the beach is to exercise and fish.
Okay, then maybe I heard it wrong.
So nobody is allowed to go. The beaches are closed unless you're exercising.
That is even worse.
Or fish. Right.
Worse.
So if you're going to fish or exercise, you get to go to the beach. They just don't want the sea lions hanging out side by side each other, just getting sun.
That's easy to fix. Go there with your fishing pole and do burpees.
Sorry, sir. I was just working out over here, doing the P90X here on the beach.
So we were out of town this weekend, but I heard a story yesterday. My neighborhood is teeming with families, and we're all getting crazy sitting in the house. So kids are out playing in the streets. Everybody's walking their dogs and walking around. And one of my neighbor friends that we hang out with, people were walking down the street and people stop and talk, and then next group walks up and they start talking, and kids are playing street. All of a sudden, the cops showed up on Saturday night.
Are you serious?
Some jerk neighbor called the cops, and all the adults were, social distancing. Nobody was within 6 feet of each other, and there was about a dozen kids riding bikes up and down the street, playing and stuff. And allegedly, the cops were really cool, and they said, hey, whatever, and just kind of, they didn't pull rank or anything, but it's like some jerk neighbor felt the need to call the cops on them.
But those are the calls that have led to the moment we're in, because those calls are coming in, and people are like, they're not adhering to your suggestion.
Yeah.
We need you to now enforce it.
I
put those people on a watch list.
I feel like we need re-education camps for real. The only way that these people are going to learn is through a re-education camp, like where we teach them. You know what I mean? Like,
This is some Gestapo shit, man.
but why is there 100 million people right now that don't have any issue with it being Gestapo shit?
I can't answer why that's the case, but honestly, like, all this has happened, and I'm like, okay, I'll stay home. I mean,
I also know down in Southern Virginia when we were down there at the lake, we went to the Walmart and the Home Depot down there, and those places were swarming with people. And I'm talking entire families out at like Walmart.
well, that was
I'm
another
like, really?
thing that, like, this weekend when I went by every Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever I saw, I mean, they were jam packed, and I think that
People are
makes.
doing housing projects around the house while you're stuck there.
Well, yeah, look, I was trying to go get some grass seed. I was literally going to get grass seed today, and this thing happened, and I was like, well, shit, can I get grass seed? Like, I had to pause and think about it.
Yes,
I was
you
like,
can.
do I need to? I don't know. I don't know the answer to
I
that.
went out this evening and spent $125 at the ABC store. That's essential to me.
Well, that's essential by law.
It's
It's a fact.
Like the fact, dude, most of this shit is transmitted through touching. You don't touch the same, like, it's not like it's on the sand. You're way more likely to get it at fucking Lowe's.
That's a fact. You are, because if somebody goes and touches the stuff, like they coughed in their hand, they touch the stuff, then you touch it, you rub your face.
Yeah.
That's how you.
Coughs go 6 feet. Breathing doesn't.
Yeah, breathing normally, and that was a misconception I had early on. I was like, no, you can't be close to someone because they're breathing. And my wife works in a hospital. She's like, that's not it at all. It's the droplets, and those can project 6 feet during a cough or a sneeze, but then they fall, and it's what they have fallen on that you're concerned with. So it's
well, have you guys walked into a Kroger lately?
hell no.
So I hang out there twice a day, daily. No, I went in there the other day to get some stuff for the hibachi grill out we had last night with 11 people breaking rules. And
But they were all family that you've been associating.
So
with.
what? Re-education for you.
exactly. And 9 members were families and 2 people were not. But the girls have to bring their boyfriends, so it's all good. But in Kroger,
Dude, if you ever wanted a reason to put a stop to that, now's your time.
That's a fact.
Come on, dude.
well, here's what
Watch that shit.
here's the thought process. For the last 3 weeks, for the most part, there has been no sense of normalcy for my kids. Now, Troy, I understand you got a great little neighborhood and things like that, and everybody's got great little neighborhoods, but there's been no sense of normalcy. So I talked with my ex. I was able to say, hey, we're going to do this. Come on over. We're going to be outside. I'm meeting the girls. And we, for one day, gave them normalcy, because now they're going to have a whole nother 3, 4, 5 weeks of just crazy stuff. But I walked into Kroger, and where the checkout lady is, you got the whole conveyor belt. That's just where you put your stuff. But then there's this 4x4 plexiglass sticking straight up between me and her. And she's got a little cutout like a bank teller. And that's where they're protecting you or her from whomever with the sneeze droplet spittles you were talking
Sneeze
about.
guard, like a salad bar.
Right. Which I'm thinking to myself, you could have put this in 10 years ago. Nobody would have given it 2 shits about.
Yeah.
It's funny you
Why would
say.
you put it?
I've been freaked out about like Wawas and Sheets, because I always thought that the convenience of touching a screen to order my food was the greatest thing in the world. And now I'm like, that's the one place I won't go. I'd rather go through a drive-through, right? Order my food. The last
So
thing
if
I want to do is,
coronavirus didn't happen, are you still freaking out about fecal matter and other bacteria and the regular flu and a cold germ and all the stuff you've been doing for the last 5 fucking whoever years?
You're mistaken if you don't think that it's always freaked me out. I've just taken it to the next level where now I'm not going to touch the screen. But I've always
which is a personal choice, but no, you don't have to enforce that on other
why
people.
Not, here, why not just be OCD hand sanitizer, man? Why choose to not even use it ever again? That's kind of the whole crux of what I'm saying here.
Yeah, touch the screen, then sanitize. Touch the door, then sanitize.
Yeah,
This is just
Bob Wiley OCD about sanitizer. Why all just be like, I'm never touching that again in my life?
I've always been anti.
I've always been a little OCD about that kind of stuff, though. Like I never touch, like after I wash my hands, I don't touch the doors. Like I've always like caught it with my foot. Like I've always gone out of my way to, not
Yeah, but
touch
now you're
those.
talking about peeing out in the back instead of going to the restroom because it's so bad. You're so scared of the germs.
Where, in what?
I'm just saying in general, like that's how you used to be. Now you've dialed it up because
Yeah, I am dialed up. There's no doubt. They've gotten into my head. I am more dialed up now than I used to be. There's no doubt about that. But
I've never been worried
During-
about germs. I think germs help your immune system.
But during like flu season or something, I always have been like cognizant of that stuff because I worry about getting the flu, but I don't worry about it like during the summer months where it's the common cold. So as
you should because it's rampant at the beaches.
and that's where I spend my time. You're right. I'll reconsider everything.
Yeah, sand's a huge carrier.
I think
Apparently.
there's a legitimate argument for the virus itself, but the perceived threat is pushed more than any other. Media people. I mean, there is an agenda. I guarantee you, there's some sort of agenda that this, just like everything that hits the media, that hits the news.
Well, there's always an agenda.
This is covering up something bigger, but I don't know what. I'm just saying why.
I don't know.
I'm not going to buy into that because the
I
whole
don't know that I'm ready to jump there. It's generally just the whole we want to make money is generally what.
Yeah, there's always an agenda. There are people that are profiting from this, and that's for sure. But it's not like it's some anti-America thing. It's the whole world is dealing with it, and the whole world's reacting in this very similar fashion.
We've talked about it before. It's there. They want to. We as the people are the problem. We like to watch the train wrecks. We like to watch the cars wreck. The media is just trying to make money.
If it bleeds, it leads. That's always been their MO.
Yes,
And this
they
is
know
bleeding everywhere. So
We
yeah,
want to
lead.
hear. We want to hear the crazy stuff that's going on.
Right.
We want to hear the sensationalism behind the virus. That it was this brutal death, and this guy had to live on this. Like we want to hear that. That's what sells. So that's why they're doing it. There's no. I mean, my personal belief is that it's not because the Bilderbergs are at the top telling them what to do. It's because they want to make money.
Well, the other thing too, to your point, so there have been corona deaths. There are people that are out there dying. The news is not reporting so much on those cases of people because or how they actually died, because one, it's not sensational. Two, the majority of them are not kids. They're all the same people that are typically sustained or susceptible to any type of disease. I mean,
That's what pisses me off. They're not talking about the underlying conditions that they already had, and that plays a huge
This
role
is
in
I
it.
can't. That's bullshit. They're talking about the fact that 40% of the people that are in the intensive care units are not of that range that's susceptible. So I think, Stu, that entire line of logic is bullshit.
I said deaths.
No, but Brennan, you're kind of proving what he's saying.
I understand that I'm reading into it because like I read into the media hype, right? I'm getting it, but the numbers are the numbers. I mean, the people in intensive care are 40% of the time not of that tragic region, and ultimately,
Right, but you're getting those. They're feeding you those numbers because it makes for good headlines. They're not feeding you the numbers that 50% of every senior living facility is going to get infected with corona, and more than half of them are probably going to pass away because they're over the age, they're susceptible, and they're living close quarters.
yeah, you're more
But they're not
likely
gonna-
to die, of course. But
And
I
they're
think the
closer to
fact
death.
that any of us could end up in intensive care is a worrisome situation
That's
when
for
you look at.
everything.
Of course, I'm just not going to let somebody say that this is not dangerous to
But
all
Brendan,
age
do you
groups.
think that they're excessively trying to sell the idea that anybody, like they're constantly trying to remind you that everybody's going to
Yes,
get it?
100%. 100%. The media's job is to get everybody riled up because then we keep going to the websites. We keep consuming this media. They sell more advertising dollars. They get more airtime. I mean, that's 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that the numbers they're giving us those numbers for a reason. Like you can twist any number you want, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
Stu's over there saying the vast majority of the deaths fall into this age group. That's a fact. But they're not going to lead with that. They're going to say 40% of the people in ICU are not of that age group because
they're
that
leading with
is more enticing and is going to get more people to click and listen. So Stu, I'm not saying
they
you're
don't
wrong.
mention that 39% of those leave just fine.
Yeah, and I'm
Well-
not saying that you're wrong, Stu. I'm just saying we can spin those numbers any number of ways, and I think that's exactly what they're doing.
What they lead with is most deadly corona death day ever. It's like, yeah, of course. The curve has it. Each day is going to be worse, but they're not giving you the facts behind those numbers.
Look,
They're
we
just
lost-
leading with
We lost Joe Diffie. Now, Stu, I know that one hit home.
Yeah, he's an overweight guy who didn't exercise, and he's got some good songs.
John Deere Green was a fantastic song.
Yeah, there's pickup man.
the best meme I saw was I hope someone propped him up beside the jukebox. That's what I wanted.
Exactly. Prop me up beside the jukebox. But it's kind of like, the media sensationalizes it, and just like, I'll say it, that everybody's been paying attention to Tiger King, but like they said in the documentary, thousands of people die and are murdered daily, if not weekly. And
In
nobody gives
Chicago.
and nobody gives a shit. But if you start talking about animal cruelty, it's fucking top end news. And now you got this whole Tiger King sensation. But it's if it's not sexy deaths due to corona, they're not going to promote it.
All right, so that I know we want to talk about Tiger King because it's been awesome, but before we go there, because we have just monopolized the first almost 40 minutes, kind of talking about the doom and gloom. Have any of you seen anything positive coming out of this? Have you noticed any changes in kind of the people you're around or your day-to-day life? I mean, is there anything you can say that has been good?
Clicks on Tinder are up.
Yeah, but you can't fuck.
Really?
What? You can't go on a date.
No, I'm just joking. I'm saying
Normal people would go on a date.
it right.
But what would the
Family
cop?
time.
The cop
Family
pulls.
time is good.
That's true.
Wear a condom.
That is
Family time is good. I mean,
Get
Hello.
done around the house.
all the revenue that the park system would have gotten until they shut them down.
The one thing I've noticed that has been really kind of nice to see that I haven't noticed in the past is the amount of kids on bikes and families riding bikes. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's like all of a sudden I live in Amsterdam in my neighborhood because everybody's on a bike riding around.
All
and
the
I've
fucking with the red lights.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's essential business, Troy. Those legs are staying open. But I have seen more kids on bikes, and my kids have even been riding bikes. So I think that's like the one positive that I've seen out of this whole thing is the amount of people getting outside, because the kids are like, I can't sit in here anymore. And the parents are like,
yeah.
I need this internet for work, so get out.
Just make sure your kids have a fishing pole sticking out their bike. That way they can go everywhere.
All right. I mean, that's a great, so that begs the question, should they be on bikes?
Yeah. Why can't they go to school?
Like if the next decree is you can't, like, see what I mean? Like, we're getting more and more insane. The next step is you shouldn't be out in your neighborhood riding bikes. You could totally come across it.
I'm waiting on that.
Well, I
So
think
here's my biggest scare is you've got these little mandates that have come down from the governor, and yes, they've got an expiration date on them. But as we get to each expiration date, June 10th, okay, it's better. We're going to repeal half of these mandates, but some of these are still first-class misdemeanors. This is such a slippery slope to a entirely different
World.
way of life.
Well, I think
Oh, yeah.
every one of us, I mean, even I agree with that. Like when 9/11 happened, then you institute things like, well, if you're associated with terrorists, then we can kill you. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, what does associated with terrorists mean, right? So now you can kind of go after just about anybody by proving some association. Then they say, hey, we need the Patriot Act to make sure that we're keeping you safe. And we all say, yeah, I really do want to be safe because look what just happened to me in one day and one morning, right? So now all of a sudden they're surveilling so much more of what we do. And to your point, Stu, every time you get into one of these panics, you start giving up more and more in the name of safety. And I don't know that it actually makes you any safer. It just limits your freedoms. And that, in a nutshell, is very scary. And I'm afraid that's exactly what's happening. And I think that's why Ely's, just furious over here because they're already limiting, and they're limiting us in the name of safety. And who doesn't want to be safe? That makes you an asshole if you don't want to be safe.
Dude, it's fear. We're 100% driven by fear.
100%.
That's exactly what, I mean, that's what Ruth, is keeping us safe from terrorists, keeping us safe. Do anything. You can bend me over and drill me in the keister as long as you're keeping me safe. I mean, that's what I'm saying is and the biggest thing that it's terrifying to me is the amount of people that are totally cool with what seems to be anything that they could say. They could say anything, and no one's like, holy shit, we need to stop this. This is insane. No one seems to be giving a fuck. We're like,
well, I think people are voicing that, right? People are standing up and saying this is crazy. I mean, you're doing it right now. I know that there's other people doing it.
No, they can't. We can't go. You, me, and 15 of my closest friends can't drive up to DC right now and protest what they've been putting down as a mandate, saying, you know what? We can't. This whole 10 people, this social distancing, it's great. It's hard. It's bullshit. I'm going to stand here and protest. Nope, not doing that.
It's just shocking to me the number of people that I see, whether it's social media or wherever, that are basically just like, everybody just shut up and do whatever they tell you. Like,
well, and that's
I
the general
understand
mentality, and that's scary.
It is, because it's like these people know nothing of history. And I understand what they're saying. I understand what they're trying to do. But when I hear
There's
that,
different ways to go about it.
right, it drives me up a wall.
We're giving up a lot right now. And
Yeah,
I honestly,
we're never
I
going
hope.
back. I mean, we are never, people are like, let's get back. We're never going back to what life was like before this, ever. I mean,
No.
there's going to be large changes. I mean, there's going to be a lot more remote / distributed work for companies. I mean, there's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if you have a lot more plexiglass and spacing requirements in businesses from here until the day we die.
Prom's canceled.
Yeah.
I hate to hear that. I'm a social person. I hate to hear that.
Well, and I think it'll come back. Obviously, I don't think it'll stay like this. But you're right. We'll never go all the way back, unfortunately.
But the more
'cause
people,
that's what
the more and
happens.
more people that get comfortable with this, the less friction the government states will get to say, maybe we need to dial it back a little bit.
And I'm in total agreement with you on that. Like that freaks me out. It really
Why
does.
would we go back? Why would we ever go back? What's going to make Karen think that all of a sudden she's safe?
Well, what's going
she's-
to happen is that she's going to say, well, Corona's gone. But now if I really think about it, everything that I've ever been dealing with and what else is to come, I might as well continue down this
Well,
path.
that's the other part of the story, and this, albeit true, is that there's more coronas coming in the future. So again, that's just like terrorism. It's like there's more coming if we don't do this.
Yeah.
So it cracks the
Ely, you know how to fix it. Just get rid of Trump, and then
Oh, yeah,
all the problems are gone.
for sure.
He
Fair
caused
point,
all this
Troy.
shit. He caused all this shit. Everybody knows it.
Everybody knows it. It started at Mar-a-Lago.
If you want a really, really fun read, go look up and research Agenda 21. But I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, Stu's conspiracy theories. I love it. Can we grab a
gonna-
deli?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do is go grab my beer real quick. Hang on.
Stu also believes the Earth's round. So
Stu's a
Yeah.
weirdo.
yeah,
Who does that? It's
Yeah.
gross.
I do need to look into 5G. His fucking aluminum foil head ass mentioned that shit. So I
Oh.
want to read into it and see how stupid it is or if it makes sense.
He gave me this dumbass argument about how 5G is creating it, and when he told it to me, I was like, that all adds up. And I hate when a conspiracy theory adds up when you're hearing it, because then you've already taken the first step to believing it. Now you have to disprove it because you're already one foot in.
Yeah.
The worst part of conspiracy theories.
are we opening this beer? Are we gonna drink this beer?
Yeah, we are. I need to go get it. You mind telling them what it is, Troy? Mine's
Yeah, I
right
mean, I
behind the
don't-
bar. Don't you just like what?
I mean, you're like the third person that's like in the middle of it. Got to go grab it. Well, I guess if you want to stay, it's to stay cold. You got to leave it in there.
Yeah, I let mine sit next to me for 45
Yeah, mine
minutes
wasn't-
last week, and it sucked.
I didn't go far. I'm back.
Yeah, I got
This
you.
is the Brooklyn. Is it Sriracha?
Yeah, the Sriracha Ace. And
It's a
I've-
7.2 beer.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I actually had this once in LaGuardia and loved it, but I can't remember anything about it.
It smells delicious.
what kind of
Oh,
beer
dude,
is
it's got sediment in it. Like this is OG. This could be
Excuse me.
good.
Oh, this is interesting. I don't know if you'll like that, Ely. I don't know where I stand.
Why would I night? It's very Hefeweizen-y.
Is Stu's back? Does he have the write up on it? Because I don't know what kind of beer this is.
This is how do you say that? Sriracha Ace?
Sriracha
Saison?
Ace.
Sriracha. It's kind of like Sriracha, like the spicy. Is it spicy though?
I think it does have a hint of spicy to it, doesn't it?
Here's so it says is a light, bright, and beautiful farmhouse ale powered by the quirky Sriracha Ace hop. This little-known Japanese hop is known for its lemony herbal qualities and spicy aromatics, and they're on full display in our beer. And we're looking at a
I literally get
Farmhouse.
none of that. None of that when I taste it.
7.2, and it's bright dill and lemongrass hops.
Where'd you get this from, Brendan?
The same place I'm getting all my beer now. The little tiny Lucky Mart around the corner.
Lucky Mart.
Yes, I like it in
Yeah,
there.
that's clean there.
Well, there's no one in it. It's perfect.
You want me to go first?
This
Oh.
is interesting.
If go for it, Ely. If you want to jump in first, bring it home.
I can. I enjoy that beer. I like it. It's very. It's like a Hefeweizen that's got a little spice or something to it. It doesn't have a bitter taste like an IPA. Yeah, I do enjoy this beer. I would give it a 3.
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that.
Two in
beer.
a row.
3.5 actually.
That's 2 in a row he's liked.
Wow.
I know this is strange.
I'm-
Ely
I
hasn't
never
left the
have
house,
never.
and now he's like, you know what I like? Beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not a dog shit IPA. That's why.
True.
To me, it's weird that it's doesn't say what style of beer it is on it. It just
That's what
says
honestly.
Sriracha
That's what I was
Ace.
going to ask. Like, what the hell is this thing?
I'm not sure.
Stu said an ale, right? It's an ale.
No, he said it was
saying
a
it's,
farmhouse ale, which a farmhouse ale just basically is code for it's going to have that sediment and that bullshit. Like,
Well, it
Yeah,
says
it's still an
farmhouse.
ale.
Brendan, it says farmhouse saison.
okay, so a saison is in the ballpark of a Hefeweizen, so that explains why Ely likes it. I don't taste much in the way of the saison. Something's weird in there. You said dill, and after you
So,
said
here,
that,
I'll
I'm
give
like, that could be dill.
Yeah, it says it's Japanese hops, lemony herbal qualities, spicy aromatics, and it's got the two hops that they use are bright dill and lemongrass.
I do taste a little lemony in it to cut the spice, which is a good little mix. I agree with Ely. I think I would give this a 3. I don't know about 3.5, but I would definitely drink. I will drink all of this. I like that's a 7.2 and that it's light, and I would drink all this and might not seek it out, but I wouldn't not drink it. You know, I definitely if you had a cooler of it, I'd be like, oh, check that out. I like that beer, and I would drink another one.
It is of that strong variety though at that 7.2, and unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the beers I've been drinking since I've been staying home, because I'm going through my fridge, are all like over 6%. I'm finding that I can't drink as many beers, which adds up.
Quick question though: have you guys been drinking and eating a lot more since you've been at home?
Yes.
It's constantly a lot more because
You tell us, Troy.
I'm basically a full-blown alcoholic at this point. Like, I used to go all week without drinking. Like, I would say all week. I'd have a couple of beers on Monday doing the podcast, but not more than a couple, and not drink Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And usually I drink Friday and Saturday, maybe a couple on Sunday, but now it's like every night. I mean, it's crazy.
I find that I'm starting to drink earlier in the day.
Yep.
Is the main difference with me. Like, I'm still taking a few days off a week,
So,
but when I drink,
everything's kind of cool unless
what the fuck?
I'm not the only one frozen.
Stu, we hear you. So if you could just not
We hear
ramble
you, so
to
you're
yourself,
talking over us.
that'd be dope. What was that? Stu's just going through a stream of consciousness, which I didn't know this about Stu, but Stu talks to himself out loud. And the only reason I know that is because he accidentally Marco Polo'd me today while he was doing shit in his room. And so,
That's
like,
hilarious.
there's this Marco Polo, and he's in there by himself, and you see him every once in a while come in, like, the frame and grab a handful of cords and be like, this is
Picking up my
crazy.
socks."
Look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe this. And I'm like, is he intentionally talking to me? And then I was like, oh, my God, he literally just talks to himself out loud as he goes through his day.
Was he talking
That's
like,
hilarious.
oh, yeah. Was he grabbing tissues and shit?
Yeah, I'd fuck me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Stu, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I guess that was me. Everybody, I was like, well, they're all just frozen. And then I realized, shit, that's my end, I guess.
And we realized you talked to yourself.
Yeah, so I heard that you rubbed one out with Marco Polo Brendan.
Yeah, it was quick and easy.
Do you cry every time you come, or was that just this time?
I was just, that's just me, Here I come, did it hurt?
Accidentally Marco Polo.
Yeah, no shit. So, did you get hard?
Oh, I didn't know I was recording the whole time.
You like them small, right?
Yeah.
Stu, you want to review that beer for us now that you're back?
Yeah, so let me tell you about the beer. Actually, I do. So I'll go with the marketing. I really like the marketing because the Brooklyn style. It looks like it's.
Am I the only one here?
I completely got disconnected. I didn't know the sound was still working. That's crazy. But no, I like the bottle. I like the label. I like everything about the whole get up. The brown bottle, the glass. It's got a cool little throwback. But I'm gonna go off the reservation, and I'm not a big Hefeweizen guy, but I'll give it a 3, definitely, if not more. I'm kind of torn.
Yeah, I find this beer to be weird, but I strangely like it, and I'm not exactly sure why. I couldn't classify it as a Hefeweizen or a Saison. There's just something odd, but
You're not getting any banana in there?
I'm not. Do you?
Really? Yes.
Yeah, I honestly, so the first time I had this, I had it in LaGuardia, and I remember seeing the Sriracha, and I thought, oh, it's got Sriracha in it. And
Yeah,
so
that's confusing to me.
And so I thought it kind of had Sriracha. So now that Stu read the actual description, and it's a Sriracha hop, which is certainly not like any other hop I've ever tasted because it's not bitter and hoppy in any respect. This beer is really odd. And Stu, you said dill, and I think there is dill in it.
The two hops are bright dill and lemongrass.
So I would say if you're a craft beer drinker and you like dill chips, you're going to love this fucking beer because it's certainly a craft beer and it's got a little bit of that dill chip to
Let
it.
me see if I sense dill in here because I wasn't picking up on that.
Think dill when you have it, and then when you exhale, there's like dill going on.
Yeah, I do love dill though.
Yeah, so I think if you're one of those people that goes to the store and goes, ooh, dill chips, and that seems like a good idea to you,
Hate it.
then this would be a good beer. But I like the Sriracha Ace, but I do not know why. Usually I have like a good explanation of what I'm tasting. I don't know, but I like it.
Wouldn't you say like this beer would go with like a lot of shit? I mean, it's like kind of in that realm where I think I could pair it with anything.
That's
I
all
don't pair
beer, man.
beers. I don't pair beers. with
Yeah.
shit.
This beer stands alone in its own flavor profile. I will give it dill. Definitely farmhouse. There's that sediment in there. It's a tasty beer though. I mean, for me, that's a 3 all day. It's not 3.5. What just happened there?
You got super loud.
Hey, your volume went crazy.
Oh, I
loud.
got super excited. Sorry.
Yeah. No
I
worries.
probably, and now I'll probably have to fix that in post. But yeah, I'll give it a 3. So I think we got a handful of 3s all around. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not enough for a deli?
I don't know.
But we'd recommend it.
Everyone likes
Why
it.
would that not be a deli again?
That's
Well, we had shifted back to the 4 being a deli just because we were giving so many at that 3 level.
I got you.
but I think if we all come in at 3, that's like honor roll, but it's not deli. I think if we all came in at
no, because if the new rule is legit, it shouldn't. Maybe 3.5 to 4, but
yeah, I think if it comes out at a 3.5, that's a deli. I'll give it that.
deli is does everyone like it? All 4 of us fucking liked it. I don't see why that wouldn't win. Because it's not aces. Get it? See what
Oh, I
did
was like, see, I'm glad you said, because I was about to dad joke the shit out of that moment in time, and you were like, get it? Just being a
So
dork.
I may have been offline if you mentioned it, but what's a 6-pack of this running cost wise?
Again, I'm shopping in a Lucky's convenience store, say $30. No, I do think this is about a $10.99 6-pack. It's a pricey one. But it packs a
Interesting.
punch. It's not bad.
Actually brewed in Brooklyn.
Well, that's
I give this a deli. I will be on the arguing for the deli. I think everyone likes it, including Illy, which he's the hard one to get to like anything.
hey, I'll gladly go
give
ring
this
the
a
bell if
deli.
you guys all want to give it to it.
So is that typical for a saison or for the beer to have a really quick expiration date? Because I'm looking at the bottle and it says this beer is not going to be good after 420. Yeah, I get that part.
Hey, Peter.
I do think saison ales they're more alive. Like they're
Oh,
less,
everything was
they're
good
less,
after
less
420.
pasteurized.
Hence the brown bottle to keep the
Keep
light out.
The light out, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's because it's a farmhouse ale. There's more like live crap in there.
Corona.
Let's hope not. I'm hoping it's the cure. I mean, that's how that works. It's either
So is the official date the June 10th? Is that what I keep hearing?
it was open ended. It said till June 10th, but we will reassess. As in, it could be sooner.
June 9th is my anniversary, so I guess I don't have to take the life anywhere.
No, you're gonna skate by on that one,
Yeah.
and then the next day everything's back to normal.
Oh, we can't get a table anywhere, babe. Sorry. Everybody's going out.
Yeah, I tried, honey. I made you this hamburger helper.
No bear
Fridays-
sightings this year.
Friday's booked up.
Tidings. No better tidings. Oh man.
TGI Fridays is fully booked. We're screwed.
Dude, I did something interesting this weekend, trying to like keep things light around the house.
Uh-oh.
Tried to
Oh,
like
yeah.
my wife had an idea. You've been seeing these memes where it's like a joke and it's like did a wine tour at my house and it's like you see the floor plan and then like a different glass of wine in each room. And we were like, man, that's like an old school station party. We should do a station party.
I've never heard of this thing until I saw.
You'd
feel
never
like
heard
your
of a
wife
station
mentioned
party?
it. Never
Station?
once in a
You never did
million
a
years.
station party? Oof.
No.
I mean, well,
Number one.
Ely and Stu
You
were
never
in my
forget it.
fraternity, so you guys remember station parties, right?
Do I ever?
So explain to the noobs what a station party
A station
is.
party is pretty simple. Say you have an apartment complex, right? And you got 4 apartments in the little complex.
So
Well,
it's,
then
it's like a bar crawl, house to house or something.
exactly. So each house has its own theme, music, and signature drink. And you go from place to place and you have like a time limit. So it's like shift, after 45 minutes, and then you go to the next party and party it up there. And then when it's done, everyone just kind of comes back together and throws down. And that's a station party. So
So it's just making getting drunk more entertaining.
Yes.
Right.
precisely. So
Okay.
we decided to do it with the children because that's what grown-ups do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
But-
were loaded after the
but-
first station.
They're
Actually,
fucking lightweights.
At the last station, they did get something that hopped them up a little bit. It was fun. But so we did, we let each kid choose their own room, and they got to pick like a kid drink and an adult drink. And then they also got to pick the music and the theme and do whatever they wanted with it. So like,
I love that you guys have them pick an adult drink because you're like, we're not going in your fucking station just drinking Kool-Aid.
hell no. And they were like, well, what adult drink goes with this? And we're like, we got it. You're going to have this. And then we'd help
Yeah.
them.
We'll pick your drink for you.
But so the
Just let 'em
first,
pick anything. Like
Brendan's doing shots of tequila watching
Yeah,
Elsa
I'm with
and Anna
Troy.
from
I'm with Troy. You should have let him pick anything. Like
yeah.
that Mad Dog orange bottle looks good.
Yeah.
yeah, my eldest daughter was like, had Malort warmed.
Hell yeah.
So
or like tequila at a fucking Italian joint. Who gives a shit? It's
yeah, why
it's
not?
fun.
Well, the first station was like Western. My daughter like showed up and it was crazy, dude. Like
The oldest or the youngest?
the oldest. She was like, we're having a Western party, and she was like, welcome to my station, y'all. And like, let us in.
What room of the house? What room of the house was this?
The music room.
Okay.
Okay.
And so we were in there, and she made us all learn a line dance that she had
nice.
come up
By the
with.
way, half of our audience just shit themselves at the fact that you have a music room.
Yeah, why wouldn't you have a music room? You don't have a music
Everyone's
room?
Got one of those, right?
So Brendan's music room in his house is the formal living room with a record player in it.
Yeah.
And the biggest speakers in the house.
Yeah.
So that's the music room.
Did you fix those bad boys?
I did. I repaired them myself. Ordered the kit, repaired them. Actually, it took all day, but went better than I thought it would.
Do you have some country records to play?
Yeah, so we listened to Taylor Swift and Zach Brown mix, like old Taylor
Okay.
Swift. And then to
Started off
chicken
with the study.
fried, she had like a dance we had to learn, which I came in last
Nice.
place, which is bullshit because I'm the only one who cared. But that's neither here nor there. And then the second room was my
what was
wife.
the drink?
What
were the
did we have
drinks?
in the first room? We had Sunkissed because she wanted Sunkissed. And then
Should have had to do. She fucked up.
Sunkissed and champagne, which is not very country, but obviously my wife had some say in that. The second,
Nectar of the Tards.
Right. That's hard.
All right.
Champagne?
the second room was springtime. My wife had like butterflies and like flowers all in the room, and like then she got to pick the music, and the music was fucking horrible. And I played Vivaldi Spring while she was making the drinks, and she's like, turn this crap off. And at least one of my kids was like, isn't that the Four Seasons? I was like, yes. At least one of them knows what's up.
I feel like country's a better theme than springtime.
Well, yeah, look, they can't all be good. And then so out of that, then my daughter did glamping. My other daughter did glamping, and so she had it outside, and she had the
Nice.
setup. And then for her music, she literally chose nature sounds, and she was like, "I want everyone to just relax and just chill." And so that was kind of cool.
Hold
Like,
on.
Well,
Go
that-
back to the second room. What were the drinks?
in the second room, we had rosé and then root beer.
So you
Okay.
had 4 stations. What were the 4 adult drinks that you had to
We're
mix
getting
up?
there. We're getting there. He's telling us as we're going.
Yeah, we're working towards that.
So the outdoor was what?
The
nature
outdoor, the
thing.
glamping
Oh,
party.
yeah.
You know, I can't even. I'm trying to think of it. I can't even remember. There was There was, oh, you know what it was? I apologize. Spring was Bloody Marys. My wife had made Bloody Marys. The rosé was in the glamping that we had that. And then they had Martinelli's.
Moonshine?
They had Martinelli's. Very
What's a
high
Martinelli?
end. Martinelli's is sparkling cider without booze in it. Like, you never had Martinelli's? Like, it's like comes in a bottle, like pops like champagne. It's just apple cider that's sparkling.
Why would I ever have that?
Man, I drank that stuff growing up all the time. But also my uncle was like,
Well, you're fancy. I'm poor white trash.
well, my uncle was also like in the mob, and they kind of had ties to the Martinelli's organization. In fact, when my uncle died, they drove a Mercedes back to my dad in a Martinelli's truck because you got to keep a Mercedes convertible cold.
Yeah,
I
that makes
don't
sense.
understand that. But
Is this in Arizona?
this was when we lived
DC?
in D.C. A Martinelli's truck
Okay.
showed up and dropped off a damn Mercedes that got
Just trying
sold.
to keep up
immediately.
with hometowns.
Yeah, I know it's difficult. My daughter actually made a comment like that today. She's like, well, Dad, you're from Chicago and Arizona, and well, you're from everywhere. And I was like, ouch, that hurt. But then my station was out here in the Pallet House, and it was
Gangster rap.
bourbon and nails. This was my
What the hell's
theme.
bourbon and nails.
Exactly.
You
So,
totally you missed the opportunity to have your wife drink Malort.
oh, dude, she would have just ruined the station party for everybody. She wouldn't have had. You're right, though. I did fuck that up. Damn it.
Yeah.
Well,
So what was your bourbon? And tell us about.
So-
I don't even know what that means.
Bourbon and Nails sounds extreme, right? Like it sounds hardcore. Like it sounds like a rock band, Bourbon and Nails. And when they came out here, I had two different nail salons on the screens. behind the
so like
bar.
different kind of nails.
And I had convinced my eldest daughter to paint nails for everybody. And so she had a big sign for BAM Nail Salon set up. And we walked out here and it was bourbon and cokes. And when we walked in, Welcome to the Jungle was playing really loud. So it
Did
was,
she speak Mandarin?
of course she spoke Mandarin, which I'll have you know, if you just type in nail salon on YouTube and just let it ride like through all the different videos, some of them are not great. It gets to the point where you see like
What?
people fighting in nail salons and shit. Like it
No.
turned south on me after a little bit. We had to
Let
to
me
make
get
some
this straight.
adjustments.
You conned your oldest daughter. She had her own station, and then you got her to work in your station.
You follow me.
Okay.
Did I
Dirty.
stutter? Yeah, that's exactly
No.
what I actually
Yeah.
went to the girls a couple days prior and said, "Hey, which one of you is better at painting nails?" And then the youngest one was like, "She is." I'm like,
That's the
sold.
smart one.
Yeah.
So I'll give you
Got it.
I'll
Yeah.
give you some props, Brendan, on the creativity side of things, because I was just trying to think if Troy or Ely or myself had done, because of this whole quarantine thing, have done anything like that, either in the neighborhood or for ourselves around the house. But that's kind of crazy.
The only
I've
the
never
only-
been one for drinking games. I just drink till I get to where I need to be.
Yeah,
Right, but
that's the game.
you're not involving your kids due to this whole
No.
deal.
well, by the
Does
time it
anyone
was
else-
over, I ended up with I currently have blue toenails across the board.
Nice.
They're
That didn't end
they're-
as I thought it was going to.
no, that's exactly how you thought it was going to end. Yeah,
Blue-
but you know the funny thing about
Blue ball toenails.
oh yeah, well I got those too. The thing that you don't realize about painted toenails
Plastic.
is that you don't see them. Like they're always in my shoes. I never feel weird till I'm taking a shower, and then I look down at some point and go, "Oh fuck!" Like, you got these blue ass nails.
So you may have remembered, you guys might or might not remember this. I know Troy may not, but for the longest time, my daughters, from the time they were 3 till
Oh, I remember
probably
that.
they every Father's Day, I got a manicure and a pedicure given by my daughters, and we're talking toenails painted with 3 different colors, shellacked on. The shit won't come off for like days and days, but Father's Day was always right before we went to the beach for the family vacation, and about 5 years
What the
ago,
fuck
we
was that?
started going to Topsail and Surf City, and as Ely would know, that's right near Marine Corps base, and here I am after Father's Day hanging out. Forget my toenails are painted. I'm walking into restaurants, going to bars in my flip flops. These jarheads are looking at me like, "What the fuck is on this guy's toenails and everything?" I'm like,
that dude's Navy. I can tell.
Yeah, it was like,
Sure.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Go Navy.
He probably
But-
puts out.
It's just like, well, they did it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's always fun stuff.
My boys like to get their toenails painted, and I'm cool with it. But one of them was like a year or two ago. Was like, "Can you get my fingernails?" I was like, "That's where I draw the line."
That's
Like,
exactly. My girls were like, "Can we paint your fingernails?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." I was like,
Yeah.
"But have at the toes. I can hide those." No,
Yeah.
fingernails is different. Either you're goth or it's not cool.
So Ely is your oldest boy asking for anything crazy, fun, haircuts or anything like that? Rings, toes.
No, he's
No.
not at all.
I was just curious because I see these kids are like some of these kids are like, give me the haircut, give me the fucking earring, give me whatever.
Yeah,
And a young
That went over well.
The
No,
oldest
I'm just saying the age gets younger and younger. I keep seeing like kids doing stuff that you wouldn't expect them to do.
What
hear you.
what are you guys going to do about haircuts? Ely, I know you're good. You just shave it. Life goes on exactly how it
So all the
has.
dads in my neighborhood are like doing at home haircuts, and like
By
I'm
who? Who's giving them?
like their wives or their kids, like
Oh,
they're just really shooting from the hip. And I'm not vain, but like I do care. Like I don't want my haircut to look like, a special needs fucking person did it, or by special needs, my 8-year-old. Like I want-
Brendan, you had asked about like advancements in this things coming of this, and I can see that as one, like an app where someone comes and does it at your house or something like that. Like I could see.
I was
Where I
actually,
grew up in the country, we had a girl that would come to my house every month, and she.
and that's how my
everybody's hair
wife
in the
does
house.
it. My wife gets
Yeah.
her. Someone shows up at the house and cuts her hair. But I was actually,
Brendan, we know a guy who could. I bet if we reached out to him, he'd come to your house and cut it.
he very well may. But I'm wondering if this is something I was thinking about earlier today as I was looking at my mangy head, and I was thinking, I wonder if we'll actually see a shift in guys' hairstyles. You know, it's like it's all high and tight right now, like at least on the sides. Like guys always get it tapered up. I wonder if we'll start to see coming out of this longer hair. Like if that'll
Or
become
just all buzz cut, like all threes.
yeah,
or
it's either
whatever,
going to be
like
super
cross-
short or
Yeah.
you'll start to see kind of like a longer flowing mane, if you
Yeah.
will. I think that might be popular because if you start to see like famous people starting to look like shit, which of course they won't because they'll have people in
won't.
there. But if the norm becomes that,
Spoiler alert: they have ways to get haircuts.
I was about to tap an 8-year-old today and have her do it, and then my wife finally
that
relented.
just came out way wrong, Brendan.
Yeah.
It really did.
You fuckers.
Hey, you said it.
Yeah, I see that now. At the time, I didn't. It certainly didn't seem like as untoward
You know what
as you
though?
made it.
Granted, the barber and yourself are not the 6 foot distance, but the chairs are 6 feet. They're keeping most of the sanitized.
Barbers are shut down.
items.
They're
I
shut
know
down.
they're shut down, but I mean, I would imagine you're putting over the thing around your neck,
Don't let logic get into this, dude.
because I need a haircut. I just can't wait.
Stu's wrestling his own demons.
Stu's been
Does-
going the same girl for 30 years.
Yeah, I gave her a text message and I said, "Hey, are you cutting hair?" And she said, "Well, all my stuff's at the shop. I'm kind of on lockdown." And she said, "Exactly. I'm kind of actually enjoying the vacation because she's booked like 12, 14 appointments daily forever. I mean, she makes really good money, but she's like, this is a great vacation."
Yeah, she'll enjoy the vacation until she can't pay her mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I asked her, "So you doing underground? I like, can I meet you somewhere?" And she's like, "Nope, not cutting hair." Like,
She would have done it for me.
Oh, she said not cutting hair. What else you doing?
Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the old.
back
That's
alley
the old.
behind that dumpster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, do you smoke? Not cigarettes. Be like, hello. That's the old, you cutting hair? I'm just not cutting hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Checks out.
Stu, you should hook that up.
I can
Did
try.
anyone else notice, does Troy with the background and the couch look like he's about to get some fucked up casting couch shit going on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
This is my kid's playroom.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could use it for something else because it would look like it would fit in.
Oh yeah, this couch is worn out for sure. That's the curtains. We got these curtains on
What?
three sides of this room.
Those are curtains behind you?
Yep.
Tell us your name. How old are you?
First time you ever done this?
Of course.
Uh,
Oh, that kills me.
welcome.
Dude, speaking of casting couch, horrible segue, but did you
Yeah.
guys hear about the King of
Where
Thailand?
this goes. I did not.
So the King of Thailand, of course.
Only king I've been watching is the tiger.
That dude.
Do we,
Go ahead and finish, Brendan, before we go down a rabbit hole.
all right. So the King of Thailand has decided he needed to self quarantine. Now, as this started ravaging his country, he decided to do a tour around Germany and like Switzerland, and was kind of bouncing around. And as his country started to kind of come under siege, he decided to rent out a place in the Alps, and everything was shut down up there. But he found a loophole because he said, no, I'm going to rent the entire place, which means that he could then stay there because they couldn't have different rooms involved, like different people coming and going because they were shutting them down. But there was a provision there that if you rented out the whole place, then they could stay open. So this son of a bitch moved into the place, and he brought a handful of servants, and get this, 20 women from his harem to be his concubines while he's locked in this hotel. This dude is sitting there with a handful of wipers and chefs and 20 whores. And his entire country is up in arms, furious, like, what the fuck is this? Why do we need a king? This son of a bitch won't even stay here in our country and help us in this time of need, and he's off just fucking in the Alps. And I'm
Right.
kind of like,
What did you do wrong? I'm confused.
I know you are the king, right? It's
Well, the funny
insane.
thing is, it says that he invited the 20 women to be his concubine. He had a total of 119 members in his entourage when he rented out the whole thing.
Oh, they
And
gone.
And there's one little line item that says everyone, all of his wives except the fourth was invited. So he's married like four or five wives.
He's got
on top
four
of the
wives.
couple.
He's got four wives, one that he can't stand. She didn't get to come along, and 20 whores. This is how you quarantine.
Any tiger cubs?
Yeah.
He's the king of Thailand.
Yeah.
He's got
probably
tiger
something.
cubs.
There you
He's
go.
got some tiger cubs.
So at this point, can we openly talk about Tiger King? Like, by Thursday when this comes out, do we have to give spoiler alerts from this point on if we're going to talk
just
about
give one
Tiger
right
King?
now.
It's
Okay,
it's
look.
only 7 episodes. The whole thing's five and a half hours.
All right, so here's
Only
the
I've seen
reality.
3 episodes.
We're an hour and 17 minutes into this episode. Those of you that haven't seen Tiger King, cheers. That was a really good podcast, don't you think? So you guys can go home and don't listen from this point on, because I think we're going to do a little Tiger
So-
King talk.
Troy, you want to put your mute on?
So I've seen the first 3 episodes, but a lot of, I guess, I don't know anyone else who knew this, but a year ago on Wondery, there was a podcast called Joe Exotic, and I listened to, it was probably like a 12 or 15 part podcast.
So
about
you
this
know
dude.
the story, like front
So
to
I
back.
know the story, but it was a year ago. So, and I listened to a lot of podcasts. So
Well, he's
when I
been
saw
in
the
jail
Tiger
for a
King-
year, so you haven't missed anything. No new revelations
Oh,
have
he
come.
missed a shit ton because now he's got a visual.
Yes. So the thing was, like, I listened to it and I had my crazy imagination going, and I saw episode 1, and my imagination was not nearly as vivid and crazy as reality. That's how crazy that this whole fucking shit show is. Like, even in my craziest dreams, I heard about the dude with the mullet that carried a gun and was gay and had 18 husbands. and I saw the first episode. I was like, oh, holy shit. This guy is like more cartoony than anything I could have ever thought of in my wildest dreams.
You know how bad my gaydar is? I watched the first episode with my
You
wife.
suck a lot of dick.
Oh, I've always said I don't. Never mind. I'm not going to get into it. My wife was like, "That dude's so gay," and I was like, "What are you talking about? That dude's got tigers." Like, I thought he was this masculine dude. It never occurred to me that that guy was gay. My gaydar's horrible, and she was like, right away, was like, "This guy's gay." Stu,
Doesn't seem too gay.
Just so you wanted to see there's your Doc Antle with Britney Spears.
yeah, but Stu,
That's not who we're talking about.
yeah,
I
Stu,
know.
you have way too much power. But I was blown away by this thing, man. That was crazy. So, all right, you just brought up Doc, right? Doc is a flat out pimp. That dude has got tigers and he's got a concubine of women like the Thai king does. And they literally live in a barn and get implants and are smoke shows.
They don't live in a barn. Angela and I have been to Doc's place, by the way.
And we have
And
a connection.
The
Yeah.
interns start off in the barn, and as you work your way
Ah.
up, get the implants, start doing Doc, then you get your own house.
Yeah, you're
And then
touched
you
with
get
the
to go
magic
from
Peter.
there.
yeah, you get the
Yes,
Bhagavad.
Magic Peter.
Exactly.
Lord.
Well, yeah, apparently his penis brings you closer to God, which sounds like a good
sure.
deal.
Yeah. So when you buy tickets, Brendan?
Nope, I went straight to apprenticeship.
Right. Exactly.
I have experience.
Feeding tigers.
It was probably one of the coolest experiences we've ever had. Like, it was really, really cool, especially if you're into big cats.
And this is Doc's, though. This is that guy,
This
Doc.
is
Anyone
Doc's.
who's watched
And
it.
it's in Myrtle,
Myrtle
Beach.
Beach.
Yeah.
So real quick, because I couldn't figure that out because they only said it one time. Is it literally like $300 a person to do the
Yeah.
full experience, or $600?
$350 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay,
But
'cause
out
then
of-
he's doing it the right way.
Out of all of the people in that documentary, Doc honestly looks like the one that's the most normal. And I understand
The most
there's-
normal dude in that documentary was the dude with no legs.
Yep, agree, 100%.
He was the most normal.
Yep.
well, and the
rest
girl
of-
who got her arm bitten off. I felt like she kind of was fairly normal.
True. I agree with that.
Anyone who's
stre-
lost a
girls stretching
limb,
it.
anyone who's lost a limb is normal.
Yeah. But the people that run these motherfuckers, like Doc, Homeboy, and the chick, something is wrong
That's-
with them.
Yeah.
Like, they are, like, they take narcissism to the next level.
But they're pimps. What is it about tigers that makes you a pimp?
Well, dude, I mean,
Well, they
you know,
talked about it. They're like, once you get to know you're holding these, killers and you're interacting with them, that you feel that power.
Joe Exotic
but-
managed to have two straight men marry him and bang him.
Okay, one was feeding drug. He was feeding drugs to one of them and kept him completely.
Which one? The one without any teeth?
No,
Oh, weird.
yeah, the guy that was like 6'6" Adonis. The guy they were feeding him like the meth
Yeah.
and weed. He was,
weed. Yeah.
and he ended up shooting himself.
Which
he's like, so he shows up, he hires his ass.
Yeah,
He's like, so how straight are you? And he's like,
I'm pretty straight. Yeah.
He's like, well, when you watch porn, do you like to see the big dicks railing the bitches, or do you like to see the little dicks? And he's like, big dicks, of course. He's like, well, then you're not that straight.
that's straight. Yeah, that was. The
I mean,
best.
that is such a stretch.
Ron White. That's a Ron White joke. That's literally
Really?
a Ron White joke.
Is it
Yeah.
really?
Yes, he said, and I saw it. I mean, I almost saw it 10 years ago. Ron White does a joke. He's like,
Yeah, but
sitting
Ron
around-
and Joe are from. They're both from Oklahoma.
so
I think
Ron's
Ron's
joke
from-
is, he's like, I'm sitting around drinking with my buddies. Like, everybody's a little bit gay, and his buddy's like, oh hell no, I ain't no gay. He goes, oh, you're a little bit gay. You just don't know. Nah, man, I'm not gay at all. He said, let me tell you, you watch one. Hell yeah. You only watch lesbian porn? Nah, man, I watch straight porn. You like limp little flaccid dicks? Nah, I like big, hard, fucking rock hard. Wait, what? Yeah, that's a Ron White joke.
Well, he used
And
it
that shit
to
works in real life.
he used it to manipulate an unfortunate meth addict. which is heartbreaking. I mean, he really was taking advantage of these drug addicts, and it's just sad. But he honestly managed to get 2 straight guys to bang him and marry him for years and tattoo property of Joe Exotic on their gut right over their junk.
Dude, how insane.
Oh, you
and then
don't have that?
The fact that they're like, oh, hey, we're here for this documentary. We want to interview you. And dude's like, you just cool if I do this topless?
Yeah, my teeth are gone, so I'm going to distract you with my beautiful tats and nipples.
Yeah, I got these dope tats. I figure your audience probably wants to see them, right? So I'm just going to chill here while you fire away with the questions, bro.
And chilling. And then he knocked up the front desk lady.
Yeah.
She's not around anymore.
Dude, when you get episode 2 is when shit turns crazy. 1, I was like, oh, this dude's nuts. This guy's just crazy. Episode 2, tons of shit starts to come out. You're like, what?
Yeah. That first episode, I was like, all right, I'm not feeling it. I don't understand the hype. And then by 2, I was like, oh,
episode
shit.
3, the one we just watched last night, we watched 2 and 3 last night. That's the one we found about how crazy the hero chick is, Carol Baskin.
Dude.
She's trying to play like she's, I'm just here to save the cats. And then they're like, what happened to your husband?
Dude.
And then that dude mysteriously vanished, and then no one knows. No one knows.
Oh, I think we know.
Oh, I know.
Carol Baskin's a fucking nut job. That's the
Dude,
one thing that I can.
Her husband for sure.
That's the one thing I agree with Joe Exotic on. That bitch is nuts.
Yep.
That is.
It's a unique.
I mean, I'm
situation.
guessing the whole shooting himself thing was a shock to Troy.
Oh, the other husband?
Yeah.
No, I heard that. I heard that on the podcast.
See, that's the thing. Troy heard the podcast, so he knows
Dude,
it.
the funeral.
Oh my
I
god.
haven't
Oh,
seen the video of it.
The one thing I
So
don't
Ely
want.
was right. Real quick. Episode 2 and episode 4 are the flips.
yeah.
The whole show.
I've had I don't want Joe Exotic to give my eulogy. That's all I know
Oh, shit.
for
Dude,
100%.
he starts talking about in front of Homeboy's mom as she's crying.
Oh yeah.
About his balls.
Yeah, he
I'm
literally says
I'm
this.
having a hard day at the office. I'm sitting back, but what's his name? Travis. He'll just bring his balls out and put them in front of my face.
Right.
And then he turns and says,
and if you knew Travis, you know what I'm talking
yeah,
about.
and he's like, y'all have seen his balls. You guys know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, oh my God.
And then he starts singing a song.
His song
Yes.
about some unrelated shit.
He has a concert.
I mean, that's the first time I laughed, and then I really I felt bad for like the guy's mom. I felt bad for it. I would be mortified attending that funeral. Like, this guy's.
Oh yeah.
nuts.
I was watching that. It was the middle of the day on Saturday. And like, I keep having to send the kids out of the room. Like, get out of here, get out of here. And then like that scene happened and I was blown away. I was like, this guy is so out of touch with reality. He's literally talking about this dead guy's balls being on his shoulder in front of his mother and his sister and all the people that loved him. And then what do? They end up putting a couple 4-wheelers on some rocks and some dirty ass shit. It looks like a little junkyard with
And
a
the
fence around
kicker-
it. And they're like, it's a memorial for Travis, the meth head who sucked dick,
Yeah.
while
Think I'm
being
going
straight.
crazy, but I take pictures of the clouds and shit.
Yeah, and then it was a
Yeah.
kicker. And
It
then
says
was a
hi.
kicker. The kicker was he invited the dead husband's mom
To the new
to
wedding.
the new wedding of the husband. I'm like,
yes.
but
Damn
she wasn't right in the head either. But I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. That was
that
like,
show
oh,
up for those that haven't seen it. If you're listening, you're fucked because you already just seen
Yeah,
it.
you just heard a lot of it.
Right. But it's the biggest train wreck on TV, and all you're doing is sit. It's almost like the one where what's the one Abducted in Plain Sight? Is that the one?
Which I've never seen.
That one's crazy.
But it's similar to the way where you're like, the whole time you're watching it, you're like, what the fuck? That's
How
the
could that
stuff
happen?
show is.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's this possible?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, these people exist. Like, I was shocked that these people exist and that this wasn't made up.
Apparently, it's all real. I mean,
Right.
there's
What they
people
say,
in
truth
jail.
is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. and they're dead on. And it's funny. It's like Doc was his
Mentor.
mentor, and Doc does it with a flock of chicks that he recruits, and this dude does it in Oklahoma with ex-con hillbillies.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw someone say after I watched Tiger King, I just realized that Oklahoma was West Virginia.
Yeah,
West.
dude.
Well, they say it in the damn show itself when they talk about building a new zoo. They're like, hey, put it down closer to the Texas border because, Oklahoma's poor and all the money's coming from Texas.
Dude, he ran for governor, and he had condoms made up with his face on them.
Yep.
And when he was handing them out, he's like, "Because you're gonna get fucked if you don't vote for me."
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Brilliant.
Yes. Oh, and so here's a part that Angela and I caught that many people may not have caught, but I highly recommend you look at it. When he got 20% of the vote,
Yeah,
Oh,
19
no
to 20. He
shit.
was third. He was
19% of the vote.
I mean, that adds up.
He's a hero.
That's insane.
But he's eccentric and he's loud. People respond to that.
Yeah, that's how Trump got elected, right?
Precisely. He just happened to
Everyone-
have better marketing behind him.
Yeah.
Everyone that works for him
Yeah.
said that he has a way about him that you just start
Those people loved him.
following.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't
Yeah.
until very late that when it all fell apart that they even started to turn.
But like Ely said, they're also egotistical. Like he was doing music videos and TV shows and like
His
he
Carol
couldn't-
Baskin video is actually pretty
Dude,
good.
that shit
Yeah.
kills me.
Like, that's
When
pretty
she's
good.
Feeding her husband to the cat.
yeah.
and she
Oh.
looks just like her. She
Yes.
Where
is
do
great.
where do I get his music CDs though? I want to download those
my
videos.
my wife was like, "Is that her?" And I was like, "No, it's not, but it's a
No.
damn good."
The worst
lookalike."
part when they showed Carol Baskin like really young, she kind of looked like my wife, and I was like, "Oh, honey, look, she kind of looks like you."
Oh,
She was
no.
like, "I'd rather you not." I was like, "Yeah, all right, my bad."
"Now we know what happens to Brendan."
Yeah.
Oh, if I disappear, yeah, you can bank on that.
Yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
that whole entire show is mind blowing to me. Like,
Well,
I saw some before I watched it. Someone had posted something and was like, "It's the most amazing thing on TV right now," and I'm like, "Bullshit!" And like by the fourth, fifth episode, I was like, "This motherfucker ain't lying. This
Dude.
shit's crazy."
It was done for me in under 24 hours from the time
Yeah.
that I started it, because it was like its own drug. I was like, "Oh crap, I gotta watch this."
Well, I'm trying to wrap this shit up so I can go watch episode 4.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into some Ozark tonight, but the funny
Yeah.
part about it is that the brilliance behind the creator and the director guy is that he has them thinking that he's really doing a legit documentary on them,
Yeah.
but he's spinning it because he knows the public wants to laugh at the fucking retard, the dumb shit that they're doing.
The fact
Yep.
that Carol Baskin has had to come out now and be like, whoa, they portrayed me in a salacious light. I'm
Yeah.
like, how did you not know that this
Right,
is
yeah.
exactly what was going to happen? What did you think this guy was doing? He was-
Well, but he didn't.
The
He
ego takes
said so
over.
at the beginning. He said so at the beginning, though, which I don't know if everybody caught that. You may have, but the producer said he didn't know what he was getting into, and he started filming this 5 years ago. It took him 5 years.
So
to
that
put out
was
this-
before anyone was in jail or any of the crazy turns
right.
happened.
So it was released on March 20th. This is a few days ago. It took him 6 months to do the editing, but he stopped filming 6 months ago.
Well,
So-
luckily for everyone's so egotistical. They were filming from the jump before.
That's the
anything
beauty
happened.
of Joe Exotic. He recorded everything that ever
Yeah.
happened to him from
Yep.
day one.
Yep.
So
It's
all
crazy.
that footage was there, man.
Yeah.
But that's
Yep.
the beauty of egos.
And then we
Yep.
haven't even mentioned the Affliction dude. That guy.
But that dude actually, I have no issues with him. All he is a horned up druggie who has, for I don't know how, but he has way too much money. And he just thought, oh, you know what's great for pussy? Tigers. And look, this crazy dude's in trouble, so I'm going to swoop in. And he just made a run at it.
I'm known for stereotyping, but there's one group of people that gets it hard for me.
Affliction?
And that's Hummer owners.
Ah,
Yeah.
And that's it. You when
Yeah.
you saw the Affliction shirt, you were like, "This dude drives a Hummer."
My man is in the tiger cages working with his full Affliction leather jacket and shit on, with his white shoes.
Well, why would he not?
Yeah.
What about Carol Baskin's second husband in their wedding photos?
Oh,
Dude.
son of a bitch!
Oh,
That wedding photo.
that's the number one meme right now, I think.
Literally, there's a picture. She's got this scrawny little nerd done
20
up
years
in a
old or
collar
20-some old.
on all fours on a leash while she sits there in her tiger print shit. Like, this is my bitch. And he has a look on his face that is somewhere in between forlorn and excited. Like, I don't know
Yes.
what's going on with this guy. It was crazy.
It's awesome.
It is. Thank God that stuff like that happens during this time because we're all stuck at home.
Yeah.
And that is a good 9 hours you can piss away. It's worth it.
Yep.
So just to follow up on the whole Tiger King, David Spade up all night or up late tonight. He's been interviewing these guys, and he interviewed the Affliction dude, Jeff, and he said, "Hey," David Spade's like, "Hey, see, you got the tigers in the background." He's like, "Yeah, these are some of my big cats." And he's like, "Well, where'd you get that one from?" And he said, "Well, that one just came from 50 Cent." He's like, "What?" David Spade's like, "What? You just got a cat from 50 Cent?" He's like, "Yeah, all these big name celebrities just like they get the cats when they're young, enjoy the cubs, whatnot, and all of a sudden they're 300-400 pounds in 6 months, and they're like, oh, I don't know what to do," and they give them back to them.
Yeah, that's not just a Mike Tyson problem.
Right.
You know, they all have that shit.
Well, apparently Doc Antle was cremating them motherfuckers.
They're euthanizing the cubs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say shit to
you
get
know
PETA
what
after me. I'll
The
leave it be.
Cubs turn into killers, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's it, right? And like Exotic Joe or Joe Exotic, he had like 120 some cats because he wasn't killing them at first. He was just letting them grow.
250.
Oh, God.
220, 250, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
far too many fucking cats.
For sure. And they running out of money and showing them like
In the mud and no.
food. Yeah.
This son
The
of a
best
bitch
part-
is
okay, wait,
feeding
real
them
quick.
old Walmart meat, and then that son of a bitch is putting it on pizzas when he opens his pizza shop.
Yes, exactly. As he's ready to say, the best pizza shop in the world.
Yeah.
It's
He literally has expired meat on the pizzas. I mean, this dude is a wizard, man. I
is,
love
for
him.
sure.
I love him.
God.
Well, they, you know, just like the media, they like sensationalize that expired meat thing. It's like just because it met the date, you can't sell it anymore, doesn't mean it's expired.
Well, and
True,
there's some
but if
truth
it's
to
been
that.
but it's been in a shipping truck for 5 hours at room temperature. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how fresh it is. It's going.
Man,
it's going
I've been
bad.
such a believer in that. Like, this stuff has to stay cold, and I've been watching now because I'm stuck in my house. I've been watching this Meat Eater show on
Yeah, Steve
Netflix.
Rinella.
Yeah, and that's a badass show. And I'm like, I'm watching these guys. They get these animals, they cut them up, and then they just throw the meat in their backpacks and like hike it
yeah.
out, and that stuff stays at hot for hours and hours and hours. And I was like, I think we've just been too pussified. Like, maybe I need to be going the Joe Exotic pizza route. Be like,
Well, you know-
I'd pay less for that pizza if the meat was expired.
Yeah.
Refrigerators haven't been around that long. I mean, freezers haven't been around that long.
Yeah. Use salt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's
man.
a funny thing. Last night when we did the entire hibachi, we got a big thing of meat, steak, and a big thing of chicken. And you cut open the steak and you cut open the chicken, and they've been on there at the same time. You're like, oh, the chicken's got to cook more. Oh, the steak's fine. Let's serve it. It's the same, rawness on the inside. You're like, oh, I can't eat the chicken. I got to cook it some more. The steak's, it's good to go.
I
There's,
don't know that I'm following you.
yeah, there's rules to that, Stu.
I'm
Yeah,
just saying, you'll eat
more.
more. You'll eat raw steak. You'll eat raw filet cow, but you won't eat raw chicken.
Well,
Yeah,
one will make you
chicken
spit, the other
naturally
one
takes
won't.
longer to cook than steak too.
I know that. But it's the same.
Salmonella lives in
It's,
chicken.
I'm just dying. Stu's argument, he's like, well, son of a bitch. There's different temperatures for different meats. Fuck me.
no, screw that. You gotta. If it's raw in the middle, it can be. Why can't you eat something else raw in the middle?
Salmonella lives in
I think you
one,
should.
not the other.
You show them. You
Yeah.
can show.
Yeah,
Stu,
yeah.
you should show him.
Be the leader here.
Yeah. Can I get my chicken medium?
Yeah.
Stu's
I'll
like,
go-
do you guys have any
Like a
trichinosis?
rare chicken. Get a rare chicken.
Yeah, I like it rare.
Right.
And my chicken bleeding.
Right.
Can I pluck it at the table?
You can find rare nuggets anywhere.
This is bullshit.
You got any chicken sushi wraps up in here?
I'm telling you, man,
Right.
this 7.2 beer is horrible.
Right.
Oh, it's good.
Sounds great.
It's good. Well, guys, we put in an hour and 40. And I know,
That's
Ely, you've
way
got
too
Ozark
much.
to watch. Troy, you've got
Hell yeah.
I'm trying to
Tiger
watch
King.
Tiger King. Let's go.
Stu, you and I got nothing to do. We'll probably be talking shortly.
I got
Oh,
home
damn it.
I got home inspections and work to do. 8 a.m. bright and early.
Well, there you go.
Wrap it up.
Everyone's got big plans. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in again another week. We're glad to be doing this, even though we're having to do it over the internet. I think the sound quality was good for the most part of this one. I was getting some feedback on this end for the first hour. Hopefully that wasn't noticeable. We'll see. It's either a cord issue or something. We'll find out in post. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's always good to hear from you. If you haven't had a chance to reach out to us, you can always do so at insidethepallethouse@gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at ITPH Podcast. Troy, I believe you have a Venmo account out there. What is that?
A memo?
Yeah, what's that Venmo?
Oh, Venmo at Inside the Pallet House.
There you go. The offer still stands. We'll give you the worst episode ever for less than $1, and we'll give you
That's right.
the
Hit us
best
up.
of season 1 for more than $1. Stu, I don't know what it is you're trying to send me here. So thank you
I don't
guys
know,
so
but-
much for tuning in. We'll be talking to you guys next week. Everybody, please stay safe and do your best to keep your mental health in check. Trust me, it matters. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Peace out.
That was a pretty good podcast, I think.